Hey, I'm Ashley Caprice, and on the phone with me right now, I have Gobi Rahimi, and you were like the production partner with Tupac Shakur. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am. For the time that he was on Death Row Records.
Wow, that's amazing. Like, Tupac was huge for the West Coast, actually all over, but especially for the West Coast. Like, we all love him out here. It's been about 20 years since his tragic death, and we are still playing his music every day on local LA stations. Let me know what it is about 7 Days. Tell me about this movie 7 Days that you are trying to produce it, right?
I'm trying to direct it and produce it, and right now we're doing a crowdfunding on Indiegogo to raise the money independent of Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
So let me just give you a nuts and bolts of the story. I had the pleasure of being Pac's production partner. He used to call me his crazy Iranian. I loved him for that.
Yeah.
It was a short relationship but an intense relationship. I was in his life for about 7 months, but we did about 7 or 8 music videos. We started a production company. We had a 3-picture deal a week before he died. He gave me my first directing gig, and from the jump, I loved him. I loved him like my little brother. And essentially what happened is a couple of weeks before he went, from the time that I started working to him, there was always tension with his record label. He was always looking for his money. Money wasn't right. Situations weren't right. There was a lot of arguing. From the time I met him, which was about December, all the way to September 7th, which was the night he got shot, the relationship between himself and his record company became more and more strenuous, more and more, there was more tension. And the reason I went to Vegas is it's just something about him going to Vegas and being told to go because Mike Tyson wanted them there for the fight. Something just seemed off. So I went there with my crew people, and we were at Club 662, which was Suge Knight's club back then in Vegas. And within about an hour, we saw Nate Dogg walking through the club. And he walked up to me and my partner at the time and said, Tupac and Sugar been shot.
Man.
So we got up, went straight to the hospital, and that week basically became the scariest week of my life because I sat guard the graveyard shift from 12 to 8 in the morning because there wasn't enough security. The police wouldn't cooperate. There were death threats. There were undercover FBI agents.
Wow.
And the film is not a Tupac story. I'm not doing a biopic on Tupac, but I'm doing a film about mine and hopefully a few of the other people's experiences at the hospital during those 7 days. And the beauty of it is that I'm not going to get a character to play Tupac. I own footage of Tupac, so Tupac will be playing himself in this film.
Wow. So you have footage from those 7 days?
No.
Or before?
I have footage from the months prior to that.
Got it.
I have footage of the last album that he recorded that was never released called the One Nation album. So I have a lot of footage of him saying the most amazing and poignant things about his future plans, clowning around, just being a 25-year-old who was going through transformation.
I still can't believe he was only 25. Like he did
25.
So much in his career.
He had done 6 movies. He'd sold over 35 million albums at 25.
Yeah.
and he had the wisdom of a 90-year-old.
Yeah.
And I think he's such an important figure in history, not just African-American history, not just American history. Tupac had global reach like no other artist.
Absolutely. He's still talked about all of the time. There are classes where professors teach about Tupac's lyrics, and it's just so much. He's a true legend for hip hop in this music industry with hip hop, and just what he did socially for people, and how he spoke up about injustices and everything. He really was like, he's so missed, and it's so weird how I feel his spirit right now as I'm speaking to you. But and it's just so crazy that you had a connection to him, and it's like I feel it through you, if that makes sense.
Actually, 100,000%.
Yeah.
Tupac's spirit comes to life. It's almost like a soul that was snapped out before his time. So he's very sensitive to his energy being spoken about, especially by people who were touched by him.
Yes.
And that's why his global fan base is so important. So the idea behind this film is to share the truth of the last week in the life of Pac's life. And the message I think that will come across from it is it's almost like Tupac died talking about injustice, talking about police brutality,
Right.
talking about corruption in politics. One of the last conversations I had with him, he said, in 6 months, no one's going to recognize me because I'm going to act like such an adult and I'm going to be done with all this extra BS.
Wow.
I don't want drama anymore. And he said, in fact, you know what? One day I might run for mayor of Los Angeles.
Wow.
Because it's the politician and the judicial system that are biggest gangs in this country.
Wow. Man, and it's so crazy that we're still going through so much right now. About 20 years later, the same thing is still going on in these streets. So what was he like, just as a person? You said he was kind of a goofball. And
He was awesome. He was absolutely awesome. He was the most loyal, unconditional, trusting human being I have met to this day. He had his little, I don't want to be stereotypical and say he had his little Gemini side, but if you got him mad, he would get heated.
Yeah.
But he didn't unnecessarily get mad at anyone for foul reasons. He was a perfectionist, and he expected everyone to move at the lightning speed that he moved at.
Yeah. What went through your mind when Nate Dogg came up to you and said Tupac had been shot? What was going through your mind at that moment and then the coming days after?
Look, initially my first thought was God is not going to let this soul be shot up again and survive. That was my immediate thought. But then the fact that he lived for 7 days, I every day I kept saying, okay, dude's got some magic going through his veins. Again, he got shot up and he's still alive.
He's still surviving. Yeah, he was still trying.
He was
hanging in there.
But I honestly have to say that not only when he died, not only did I lose one of the most important people in my life that I've ever met, but I think we lost someone of serious relevance.
Absolutely. And he's still very relevant. Absolutely. We still listen to his music all of the time because he's still so relevant for society and for the culture, hip-hop culture, and just music in general. Like, so many people still want to compare every rapper to Tupac. Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, we're trying to compare them to Tupac because he just had such an impact and he left us too soon. So what were some of your last words to him? Do you happen to remember?
I mean, I saw him on the fifth night, and he was in an induced coma, and he wasn't in the best of shape physically, and I just walked up to him. I put my hand on his arm, and I just said a little prayer for him, and that was it.
Yeah. And then on the 13th, where were you when you got the news? I
had flown back the night before he passed because the nurse told me he was 13% better, and we were producing an Ice Cube video the next morning, and my partner said, "You've got to come back. I can't do this on my own." So I came, but we were in the car, and Theo from the Beat came on, and he said, Pac has passed. And
oh my God!
That was it. It was surreal. It was absolutely surreal.
And it was crazy out here. It was so crazy, so sad. It's like, you know what I mean? We all lost a huge part of us. And like all ages and races were all affected by his passing. Yeah. Such a tremendous loss. Such a tremendous loss. So 7 days, the movie. How can people donate? And, you know, when it's on Indiegogo, correct?
It's on Indiegogo. The quickest way to learn about the project, about who's involved, and Indiegogo is to go to our website, which is 7daysthemovie.com. And it's a number 7 with a D-A-Y-Z or S, 7daysthemovie.com. And there's a link directly to Indiegogo. We're trying to raise $300,000 so we can go straight into production. But we've got gifts that are one of a kind, sweatshirts, T-shirts, We've got do-rags that are made for the movie. We've also got some crazy gifts like limited edition prints of Tupac photos that I own that have never been printed before.
Oh, wow.
So these are some collector's items. They'll be limited edition, one of 100 or one of 200 that'll ever be printed. So, it'd be like buying a bar of gold, but it's Tupac.
Right.
So we've got that. We've also got walk-on roles. We've got extra roles in the movie. We've actually got roles in the movie with people that have lines as well. So we've got a little bit from $5 to $25,000. We've got a little bit of everything for everyone. And in a perfect world, fans would fund this movie because that would allow us to protect the independent spirit that was Tupac. We've partnered up with Strange Music. We're in negotiations with them, with Tech Nine's label, to do a Unity album. So we want to invite the who's who in music, people that have been influenced or knew Tupac to get involved, and us do a Unity album and kind of finish what he was trying to do with an East Coast, West Coast thing. So we want to take it a little more global, and we want to get some charities involved and hopefully, get some education involved in there too. So we've got some big plans. 7daysthemovie.com is the hub for everything you need to know about this project.
7daysthemovie.com. Have you ever reached out to like Dr. Dre or Warren G or anyone that he was, very, very close to in his industry?
Well, it's interesting because I get that question asked a lot of the time. How come Snoop's not paying for it? How come Pac's mom's not paying for it? It's OPM. It's always other people's money. No, they never dip into their own pockets to fund projects. And I think that I'd love to get Dr. Dre involved. And if you got his phone number, give it to me. I give him a call. But aside from that,
I don't have his number. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all good. But I think Ashley, it wouldn't be Tupac if it wasn't a struggle getting it done.
Absolutely,
and
I love it.
We want to do it from the streets.
And
I would rather do whatever I can to keep the integrity of my relationship with him, keep it as honest and prideful as possible because I value that.
Yeah, and I think it'll be great if the fans get involved and we really put this together. And so you tried before, though, right? Because
we tried to do a documentary based on this footage on Kickstarter. But the problem that was there with the documentary is, in order to tell that story, you've got to be able to use the music.
A lot of the music
that I film is never before released music. So it's not only just getting a release from a publisher or a label. If the music's never actually been released, that's a whole different ballgame. So for the time being, I've got this little story that I don't really need anyone's permission to tell because it's my first-hand experience, and it's going to hopefully give a couple of the other people, like the Outlaws, an opportunity to tell their story of what happened during the last week in the life of Tupac's life.
Wow. If you are listening and whatnot, and please contribute to this campaign, Indiegogo. All the information is on 7daysthemovie.com. Gobi, Rahimi, thank you so much for calling in and sharing some of your story. I'm excited to see this. I'm going to go on there and even try to contribute myself, okay?
You're an angel, Ashley. Thank you. And look, if people can't donate, if they got financial constraints, even though we got gifts as little as $5, at least get the word out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, let's be a little militant about it and do a grassroots. Let's go to war.
I'm excited for you, and I think it's going to happen.
Thank you so much, Ashley.
Yes, thank you so much for calling in.